Hello and welcome to Surf Progression Techniques. My name is Chapin Kruder, and today we'll be going over the steps and techniques necessary to do frontside airs. But if you're ready to do airs, you're also ready to do turns or perfect your turns that you're already doing. So be sure when the video is done to go down and click one of the two links below. I have both goofy foot and regular foot examples of how to do turns, so make sure you get that video gift after you watch this video. So with that said, let's get into the 3 techniques necessary to accomplish any frontside air. Technique number 1, or tip number 1, is as you're preparing to do an air, you want to do 2 to 3 pumps mid-face. And the reason you do 2 to 3 pumps is the obvious one, which is to generate enough speed to propel yourself up and off the lip, but it's also to set your feet. Setting your feet, widening your stance is going to give you a solid foundation to launch and land on. So you really want to be preparing as you're doing those 2 to 3 pumps by stepping your foot back on the tail pad, getting it wider, and sometimes even maybe sliding that front foot a hair forward. Within this example right here, if you watch very closely, you can see that's what Nate Yamans is doing right now, which is stepping that back foot back, getting that nice wide stance under him as he prepares to launch for this air. And you'll also pay close attention to that he's staying mid-face. You don't ever want to drop down too far unless you're an obvious sick pro who can do that sort of thing, but it's way easier to execute and complete airs if you stay mid-face. Try to keep your pump mid-face, so when you launch it's way easier to keep that body above the board and you don't lean back. You see this all the time with intermediate or even advanced surfers who are starting to learn the air game, and they just go all the way down to the bottom and then all the way back up to the top, and by the time they reach the top their whole weight distribution is too far back and they're launching, their board's flying, or they might even keep the board kind of connected to their feet, but their body is definitely below the board and their board is above them. So as you're launching, you want to keep your body above the board. And the way you can think about it is if you were skateboarding on a longboard skateboard and you went to do a 180, a little air 180, ollie 180, that's the feeling that you're looking for, and that's the technique that you want to imagine yourself doing. So widening that stance, few pumps mid-face. As you go to launch, imagine yourself doing an ollie 180 on a longboard skateboard. So now I'll do a quick recap and I'll slow-mo everything down so you can get a clear idea of the 3 steps necessary to do an air. But first, remember when this video is done to go down and click either that goofy foot frontside turn video or the regular foot frontside turn video. It's a really good example of what it takes to do better turns on your front side, so make sure you get that video when this is done. So as we go through this, tip number 1, it's going to be do the 2 to 3 pumps mid-face to not only generate speed but prepare your feet to widen your stance to get that solid foundation under you to launch and land on. Super key. Makes a huge difference when you have a nice foundation to land on. Number 2, imagine yourself doing a 180 on a longboard skateboard. That really helps you imagine what it takes to get that obviously very big surfboard that you're on, propelling it in the right direction with you above it in order to land back on it. So if you want practice on a longboard skateboard on land, and if that's not something you are proficient at, then just imagine yourself, again, widening that stance and then trying to do an ollie 180 on a longboard skateboard. And then tip number 3 is keep your body above the board. Do not lean back. You want to almost lean forward a little bit as you're launching to really keep that body above the board as you're flying through the air. So thank you again for choosing Surf Progression Techniques. Be sure to go down and click one of those links to get the 3 tips necessary to do any type of frontside turn, and I'll see you next time.